In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a guard for this hunting knife project. Let's head to the shop. So we're going to dig up some handle materials for this knife, find a guard and wooden handle. I think I'm going to go with wood for this one. So let's dig in and see what materials we got. Some brass, stainless, copper. I do like the look of copper. Let's set that there. Let's take a look down here. So I got a mix of stuff. I got some exotics and I got some wood that I've stabilized from the wood pile. Use some cactus juice and some really unique pieces just from, you know, when I used to split wood. And there's a spider, dead spider. There's some nice pieces. That's going to finish out real nice for the right knife. What's this? I got a good chunk of camphor burl. I don't know if you guys have ever worked with this, but it's got a nice, almost gets like a nice reddish magenta finish to it with the eyes. And it's got this really, really awesome spicy smell. You know what? We might roll with this. I think that's the ticket. I think that's the ticket there. I think the copper will complement that magenta reddish hue. Turn that off. I think that's the ticket right there, guys. All right. Well, we're gonna cut some guard material from this copper here. And get the mill set up, get the blanket off it, and get this guy set up. We'll mill that hole in there for the tang. Man, if you guys could smell that, oh, such an awesome smelling wood. It's almost like a spicy pine. I can't explain it. It's just an awesome smelling wood. But if you check that out, I mean, you can see the magenta burls in there. This will get like a magenta, almost like a brownish orange finish to it when you hand sand this out. Just an awesome piece of wood. We got our guard material cut off the bandsaw. So what we got to do now is take this to the mill, square it off, and get it ready to mill the slot for the tang, and then fit it up. All right, that's the end of our last pass on that. I don't know if you guys notice, but it looks like I got some chatter going on there. I don't know if I got a loose carbide on this facing mill, or if I got to make an adjustment up in the head here. But I got a little bit of chatter. You can see it right there. That's an easy fix. We'll just hit it on the flat disc real quick. And problem solved. So we're back inside at my leather working station. We got the guard material that we milled out flat and squared off at the mini mill. So what I got to do now is I have to find my measurements here, how thick my knife is here at the bolster area, and then figure out my measurements to mill out the slot for the guard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some blue Dykem and I'm going to mark this out. I need something more permanent than what we had with the Sharpie marker. So I'll scribe my lines here and I'll use that to double check my work when I go to the mill and I hook up the drill and get my measurements off that. I'll make sure that I'm within those specs. So follow along and we'll see how this works out. So off camera, I just did some real quick math. We're taking our center of the block, and you can add or you can subtract to get the spacing that you need off each side of your center line to fit the diameter of the tang. So the space we need is 0.5595. So what we need to do to fit this up nice and tight is I'm going to mark my tang area out and test fit this on. And as I test fit, the black marker is going to leave marks on the inside of the slot. And that's going to tell me where I have to go in and file back those areas to get this to slide on. Now, this is pretty close from what you can see. I could probably almost hammer this on, which I might try just to see how far I can get it before I go and hit the file. But one thing I got to point out, and what a bugger. I think the mill I was, matter of fact, I know the end mill that I was using wasn't a good end mill. And you guys could probably see it in a previous clip, how I was forcing it a bit and it was getting a bit of chatter trying to work it. It just was not cutting through this copper, and this stuff's super soft. It just was not a sharp end mill. So what happened, I'm not sure if you can see it, I think it bit and pulled a little bit on this outside edge here. Now I notice when I go to fit this on, I can see I got a big gap. It's not straight. So I got a feeling what I'm gonna have to do is go back after I fit this guard on. I'm gonna have to go back and peen these edges and sand this back, which is fine because I got plenty of material there to work with, and that's why I leave extra material. But it's just added work that I was, you should be able to avoid going to a mill, and especially using a drill. Just make sure you're using good end mills and that your table's tight and your speeds are set and you're not getting a lot of chatter. Otherwise, yep, that's what you end up with. So I'm not sure if you can see, but in there there's a little bit of black marks in there. That's where I gotta do some filing. I got some filing I gotta do on the bottom, obviously, because I think and the top. I think that's what's holding this up from going all the way forward. I'm not gonna take anything off the sides right now because I believe I can probably get this all the way up to fit. I just need to widen the top and the bottom a little bit to get this to push up further. And obviously, the reason I think it's going to fit is because I went a hair wide when I milled it out. So we'll fix that later on. Fireworks finished on those areas that we were talking about on the top and bottom of the slot. Let's see how this fits up. Yeah, that worked. That worked. We still got a little bit more to do. So if you guys can see that, top and bottom aren't exactly touching. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go in and do a little more file work and start to bring out the top and bottom lip of that slot. All right, so we're good. A little bit extra file work where we beveled those edges top and bottom. Got this to fit up nice and tight. The only issue is that this one side, I got a little bit of a gap, so I am gonna have to go back out in the shop and peen this over and then sand it down to get this to fit up nice and tight. Okay, so I finished shaping out the radius on the guard using the templates inside. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start hogging off the large pieces of material using a 36 grit ceramic belt. I have my table rest here set up on a slight incline to give me a little bit of an angle on the guard when I shape it. That helps ease the transition when I start matching up my handle and shaping my handle. I'd like a little bit of a transition. So I finished grinding out the plunge bevels on the guard. Copper is a great material to work with. I mean, it grinds like butter. Only issue is that it's a great thermal conductor and it gets hot quick. Quite a few times I had to keep dipping in the quench to stop from burning my fingers while working with it. Unfortunately, because it's such a small part, it's hard to get in there with grind sticks and hold it in without having to use your hands to hold it in place against the belt. So next step is we're gonna get ready for the handle. What I'll do is this isn't the knife we're working on, but just for an example, we're gonna fit the guard up, take our handle material, figure out where we want the handle to fit. You know, if I'm gonna put any hips or anything up near the top to grip on, or if we're gonna go straight across in coordination with the top of the spine and the guard, you know, that's gonna play part in where we locate our tang. So we'll mark it out, measure out our center, drill it out to depth, and then scribe it out, clean it out, get it to fit, and then we're on to setting the pin and shaping. That's it. Well, I think that's a wrap. We got the guard fitted up tight, rough to shape. We worked through a few issues caused by poor decisions at the mill. But after all said and done, I have to be quite honest, I'm just not feeling it. It plain just does not work with this blade. It's too small. There's not enough of a finger guard. I just don't like it. In the next video of this hunting knife series, we begin shaping and finishing the handle, and I'll show you the type of guard that this knife really deserves.